So just to make it, or to make us understand this very well, now let us look at the confusion that is making people not to get it well, okay? Now, you asked Labwor, Labwor. Is it because they stayed on the hills? Is it because they are feared like the lions, or what? This is what many people do not understand, or they get to know, okay? Now, the modern history of northeastern Uganda began in the 15th and 16th century, when groups of Paranilotics, Sudanic and Luo-speaking people initiated a largely migration from what is Sudan at that time to the current place where they are. Okay? Now, once these migrations commenced, primary and secondary movement continued for centuries, with many groups finally settling in Labwor by the 19th century. Okay? Now, some scholars or some of the anthropologists argued on the move. So, the available literature that was made by some of these scholars or the anthropologists with the elders of that time when they were doing their research work is what we are going to see to make us understand the traditions, the claims, the myth of how Labwor came to get the name, or a Thur came to be called Labwor, or Labwor, or a Thur. Now, some scholars argue that the first migrating groups to settle in Labwor, Mount Lapono area, were the northern Paranilotic speaking people who separated from those who were moving westward direction in that time. Now, Ralph Herring Stewart, in his book on the borders of the two worlds, posited that the third Luo groups to migrate to eastern Uganda during the 16th century migration was the Abor Luo, who settled in Labwor Hills. Now, to him, he suggested that although the Proto-Boer and Abor were once part of a single linguistic community, this relationship has not been adequately explained in some of the existing literature, according to Ralph Herring Stewart at the time of his research in Labwor in the 1970s. Now, another scholar or anthropologist who also spent time in part of Labwor and Karamoja in the old days was Father Santander. Now, Father Santander in 1958 also noted that the linguistic ties between the Boer and Alur, asserting that they shared a common origin and dispersed from the same migratory group. The Tembo or the Dembo group and Turi clans reportedly traveled together during their early migration from Ethiopia, although they do not anonymously claim Dimo as their ancestor. So just like Father Santander has said, Herring still references that or believes that these traditions accurately reflect some aspect of these societies actually. Now, similarly, while Father J.P. Krazola accepted the view of these two anthropologists, for him, in 1954, when he was doing his research on the Labwor, the Nyakwai and Lang Omiro, he met the Labwor elders. That is Father Santander, that is J.P. Krazola. He met the Labwor elders, who then maintained that Their language, Leptur, closely resembled that of the Alur or Acholi. Okay? So, Krazola argued that the Proto-Labwor migrated east alongside the Mahdi movement, writing that the separation from Bori in Pajok led them southward and eventually occupying the present Labwor Hill. That is according to Father J.P. Krazola. Now, another anthropologist or another scholar called Odongo Ku Onyango in 1976 provided an alternative explanation that was grounded in the Shuluk tradition, claiming that Bwor was a brother to Nyikango, who remained in the Luo cradle land with his daughter Thuro or Thuri. Now, Odongo did not mention the latter group, but asserted that Bor were part of a community that settled in the Agoro region. This claim aligned with tradition in Bunyoro, which states that Abworo migrated alongside Rukidi. Now, between 1544 and 1571, both the Bor and the people of Obwor departed from Agoro, according to Kenneth Okeny in his book of the state formation of the Paikwera state in 1982. Now, Odongo suggested that Bor were part of the larger group that became lost or dispersed in southern Sudan, while the Abwor migrated south to settle in the Labwor Hills. So, the people in Labwor Hills currently are the people of Abwor or Jo Kabwor or Jo Abwor in actual translation. So, these were the descendants of Thuri. Thuri being the daughter of Nyikango. So, Nyikango produced Thuri and Thuri produced Bwor and Abwor. So, a Thur got their name from their legendary ancestor, Thuri, who was in Ethiopian highland at that time. Now, Haring described the life in the Labwor Hills during the 17th century, highlighting the tradition of the Kuku and Puro clan, according to Abwor elders, saying the Kuku clans was among the first to enter the Labwor Hills around the 16th century. So that is how the name Jo Abwor came. We are not fearless like the lion. We are not fighting like the lion. So people mistake the name Jo Abwor. But we are a section of the clan and the tribe that came from Ethiopia via South Sudan and ended up dispersing from Agoro south. So the Boer got lost in Agoro while the Abwor came and settled in the Labwor Hills. That is the narrative and the literature written by anthropologists and narratives from other available elders within Abwor who can tell you that